With the closing of the latest arc in Gachiakuta, I thought it was finally time that we have this conversation. This is actually one of my most requested videos, but in my honest opinion, I just didn't think it was time yet. We are on the cusp of celebrating the 2-year anniversary of the serialization of Gachiakuta, and what better way than to bring it in with this video? I think it's time. I think it's finally time that Gachiakuta gets its well-deserved anime adaptation. As y'all know, I'm DomoSenpai, avid manga reader, daily anime watcher, the Gachiakuta enthusiast, and not to mention the Kagurabachi enthusiast. Before we get into this video, if y'all are digging the vibes of the channel, man, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I made a declaration of going for 100,000 subs this year, and I don't plan on letting up anytime soon. So in light of this, share this video with friends who love manga, friends who love anime, and help me chase this goal. Love gaming? Follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/DomoSenpaiTV. We do all sorts of chill things over there as a community, so feel free to come and hang out. Don't forget to follow my socials to keep up with my daily life and things of that nature. And now, with all of the fluff out of the way, let's get into the video. As I mentioned earlier, Gachiakuta has now been in serialization for 2 years. And by now, I think many of you are wondering, why wait so long to talk about whether it gets an adaptation or not? And the answer to that is very simple. There just wasn't enough source material. If we go back to a video I made over a year ago, I talked about the potential of an anime based on the visual we were given, and at that point we had just finished up some work in Graffiti Town. At that point, I was fine with even a 12-episode adaptation, but my homie JDS kept forcing the idea that all Kodansha anime get 2 cores, and to me, I'm still not rolling with that. But now that we got all of this source material, the manga sales are stable, and it seems to me, based on the support that I've seen from Twitter, that the company is seemingly enough rallying behind Urana Sensei. And with that, all of the signs point to an anime adaptation at this point. So let's break down how this would play out, who deserves to animate it, and just how vital that is to how Gachiakuta should be received. If we were to base it on the potential of it getting a 2-core, which is typically 18 to 24 episodes depending on the budget, anime adaptation, part 1 would more than likely cover volumes 1 through 4, going over things such as Rudo's descent to the abyss, meeting the cleaners, the introduction of Jabber, all the way to Graffiti Town. But this is where I'll get a little lenient. Instead of having part 2 cover all the way to where we just stopped, why not just have it cover the Amo arc? I think the perfect way to end the first season would be the meeting at the bar, after the successful mission of finding the mysterious woman in the desert, which happened to be Amo. There was so much that happened in this part alone that skipping out on it would just be a disservice to not only the manga, but Urana Sensei herself. So by ending at the bar, you introduce Zodil as the head of the Raiders, have him say the lines, he'll do anything to get his hands on what he wants, flash the Watchman series, and cut to credits. But that's just me being lenient though. If I were to be cutthroat like majority of the production companies are, most of Graffiti Town would be cut out, the battle before Jabber would be cut out, the trial with Ryo would be cut out, etc, 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 leading us to try and cram the source material together, creating a dog shit anime, which would then sully the reputation of 1K Urana, and I would not stand for that. So the best bet would be to follow the guidelines I provided while also saving the rest for a potential season 2. Because if we think about it from a logical standpoint, ending it at the bar would raise so much mystery as to what happens afterwards. Does Rudo get captured or does he escape? What actually happened to Amo? Who are the rest of these raiders? What happens next? Now obviously we can add more depth to the anime by completely adapting it in a proper fashion, but that would require a studio who would be deeply committed to telling the story of Gachiakuta in the proper light, which leads into my next question. Which studio would not only be able to properly adapt Gachiakuta, but convey the message behind it? Now, I know you guys want to list off the obvious, right? Which is Studio Mappa. While I'd love for that to be the case, the style which they go for doesn't necessarily fit the bill. Gachiakuta isn't really about combat. It's more so about storytelling while showcasing its ever so mysterious and growing world. And let's not forget its almost inhuman art style and paneling. That is something that I couldn't leave out of this conversation, even if I tried. In my honest opinion, there are only a few studios who would really be able to nail what it has, one of the first being Studio Bones. I think the way that Bones handled Soul Eater, Mob Psycho, My Hero, and countless others, Bones would be a no-brainer in animating Gachiakuta. While stylistically it may not match your taste, I think this studio does an excellent job of creating amazing character moments while also not slacking on the creative side of the battles. Next, would be David Productions. David Productions has done a wonderful job animating all of JoJo so far, Undead Unluck, and the most important one in relation to Gachi, which is Fire Force. If we are going based on a studio who could capitalize on goofy moments, insanely colorful layering, and eye-catching battles, then this would also be considered a no-brainer. But to me, there's one studio that I believe can do Gachiakuta better than the two I just mentioned. I know you guys are probably thinking it's Trigger, but no. That, my friends, is Production IG. With the way Production IG handles anime, I think they are the true #1 when it comes to animating Gachiakuta. From the color choices to the style, all the way down to the storyboarding, Production IG has it all. Doing anime such as Kaiju Number 8, Psycho Pass, Heavenly Delusion, the Fate Grand Order Camelot movies, and so much more, Production IG hits every facet of what I would want in an anime adaptation and more. Storytelling, world building, character development, and just the overall care they put into their product is stuff I could only dream of when adapting a manga. Those are the three that, if it is at all possible, should be the most requested studios to adapt Gachiakuta. I say all of that to say this. Gachiakuta has been doing amazingly well. The support has been far better than I ever would have thought. And with how amazing this manga is and has been, I see no doubt as to why it would not be getting an anime adaptation announcement at some point throughout the year. Like I mentioned earlier, all the signs point to one coming, so I thought, why not make this video about it and give my opinion, you know? Seeing as I've been covering it since the beginning. Day one, it only makes sense that I would do this. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new. If you took the time to watch this entire video all the way to the end, thank you from the bottom of my heart. As y'all know, this series was the one that drove me to go full-time into content creation. With over 100 videos made for it, I wouldn't be here today without it. And by the way, we just hit 6K on YouTube. And hopefully, this is just the tip of the iceberg for what is to come. In the comments, let me know if you like videos like this. I typically don't sit down and type scripts this often. So with this being one of my first detailed ones, make sure to give me as much feedback as you can so I can get better at doing it. And with that being said, it's your boy, DomoSenpai, and I will catch you guys in the next video.